Wealth Chats, and I'm really excited because I've got Saeed Bor here with me. Hello, Saeed. How are you?
Hey, how we doing?
I'm very well, thank you. And just so that everybody knows, you prefer to be called Sai, don't you?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay. So this is all about building trust by delegating to retain your top talent. This is so key when you are leading teams in organizations. So first of all, just so that everyone can put it into perspective, whereabouts are you based, Si?
Yeah, I'm based just outside of London in a little place called Surrey.
Yeah,
Yeah, not far from London at all.
lovely, lovely. And let's start off by you explaining to me and to everybody who is listening, what's your experience and what do you actually do?
Amazing, yeah. So I, much like everyone else in the recruitment sector, fell into it many years ago. I was a recruiter in the contract tech market. By virtue of knowing how to use Excel, I became the operations manager. Fell in love with the business of recruitment and growing businesses, managing teams, and worked my way up to most recently COO of a hedge fund recruitment business.
Wow.
Last year, I launched my own consultancy serving the community of agency founders and owners, supporting on all things operational. So that goes from technology through to people and performance management.
So you are the person to talk about this. This is absolutely brilliant. I've chosen the right person.
I'm
So
certainly one of them.
there's such a shortage at the moment with highly skilled workers, especially in the UK. So what I think would be really good is for us to understand why is it important for us in organizations, for the leaders, to build trust by delegating so that they actually keep their top talent, they don't lose them, so that then they're looking and then the market is so low in top talent. So why is that so important?
the Everyone likes to feel good, and no one ever feels as good as when their boss says, "Hey, I've got this important thing to be done. Can you get it done?" Or, "Hey, you're going to have ownership of this work stream." Or when you eventually become the person that when certain things come up, everyone in the room just goes, "Well, that's going to get delegated to this person because they're the best person at doing that." I think there's a real feel good element behind being trusted and delegated tasks by your managers or even your peers. I'd even say your peers delegating stuff to you because they know you're good at it is a positive sign. I think delegation done correctly with some guidance and some support in what's being passed down is a great thing. There is a risk that folks just delegate to folks without understanding people's
Yeah.
capabilities and quite often maybe be setting them up to fail. So delegation done correctly helps with that warm fuzzy feeling, I feel.
Yeah, yeah, it does. And it makes people feel valued and that they're trusted. And that's what we're all about, really. Definitely. That sounds brilliant. So you work with a lot of different types of organizations and companies. So what would be really good is to fully understand when we're building trust and delegating, it should be all about motivating them. So what strategies do you suggest when you're consulting the organizations that you deal with to actually build the trust, to delegate, to actually motivate their teams?
That's a really good one. So in recruitment, specifically the agency side of the recruitment sector, responsibility usually came by virtue of generating lots of money. So you were a good performing salesperson, therefore you were given more responsibility. I think the industry has become so much more wiser to it now, so that actually we generally pass responsibility on to those that show that they can deal with the situations, i.e., you're not the biggest sales generator, revenue generator, but actually you're quite good at imparting wisdom onto your colleagues and junior people in the office. Then all of a sudden you might get delegated the onboarding training sessions, or you might get delegated the task of managing folks or given the responsibility of managing folks and growing teams. So I think the best thing that I've seen recently is that rather than it just being virtue of I'm the biggest biller, I'm going to get all the tasks and responsibilities sent my way. People are delegating to folks that they know are capable, want to do it as well. Nothing worse than delegating tasks and responsibilities to people who just don't want it. It's just a hiding to
Yeah,
them.
that is so true. So That's a really, really good point. It should be all about delegating the right tasks to the right people. Definitely. And a lot of the organizations that I deal with are organizations that are really wanting to strategize to retain their top talent. So when you're working with organizations, what strategies do you suggest that they put in place so that they are keeping those top people and they're not then getting frustrated because people are leaving?
Yeah, I mean, one of the most important things I think I've seen take place over the last year or so, given the current climate and cost of living, is re-benchmarking salaries internally, just to make sure that comp and bends are in line with what's out there in the marketplace as a starting position. I think the value piece and that warm fuzzy feeling I spoke about before. It's not to say that you should sacrifice your business's goals and targets for the sake of making everyone feeling nice and warm and fuzzy, but the two can mutually exist. And actually, it's finding the balance of what do your staff want to get out of life, and whether that's promotions or fulfillment or more experience, making sure that you're listening and incorporating it into their workload when delegating tasks. For example, if you're hearing in one-to-ones that someone is desperate to get some project experience on in a specific area of the business, listening to that and thinking about that when you are then doing your next quarter planning, I think that's the kind of stuff that you can start doing to make sure your staff are happy. Start with making sure they're all compensated correctly, but then beyond that, make sure that the work they're doing is what they want to do, they enjoy doing, and that they're developing every single week.
Yeah, that is so key, that they're developing, they're happy. You use the word happy there. If people aren't happy in a role, they're going to leave. And, you know, the good old statistic, 75% of people leave their manager, not the role itself.
Yeah,
And to
100%.
me, that sings out that those people leave because they're not happy. We wouldn't leave if we were happy. So we want to really retain our staff there. That's absolutely brilliant. Have you got anything else you'd like to add?
I mean, what the point around people leaving managers is a really interesting one. Some of the organizations that I work with have the consultant sales floor, and then they'll have a management layer, and then leadership, senior leadership above. I feel sorry for some of the managers, because the managers have to be the mouthpiece for leaders and their senior leaders. And, they may like their job, but they may not 100% be on board with the messaging that's being pushed out. And then ultimately, when people do leave that manager, I feel for the manager. I feel like it reflects on them in a really, really bad way. But it's part and parcel of life, isn't it? You have to learn how to navigate these things.
Yeah, I always say, because I work with a lot of managers, that personally I think management's one of the hardest roles because you're stuck in the middle, as you said. You're answering to the leaders, you're answering to the people on your team, and sometimes it's very hard to get a middle ground. And it can also be a very lonely job as well. So my big push with managers is stick together, managers. If you're in an organization with 10 other managers, work together, collaborate. Because I worked in an organization where the managers, we were competing all the time, and it shouldn't have been like that at all. Yeah.
There was an agency I worked at, which when I was a divisional manager at the time, and actually the owner of that recruitment business, it was a multi-sector multi-brand recruitment business, and all the divisional managers used to have a monthly meet, and then we would all go to lunch afterwards, and we'd all have a beer afterwards, and so on and so forth. Whilst it was nice, friendly competition in terms of whose teams were performing the best, the lunch afterwards just meant that it leveled friends.
Yes.
And actually, I have to commend the owner of that business, because he was like, my managers are the most important people. I want to make sure that they're on and stuff. So yeah, good.
Oh,
Good.
that's so refreshing to hear, because you
Yeah.
don't hear it everywhere, and that's what we're aiming for, to help those managers, because then people will stay.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. Oh, you've been amazing, Si. Thank you so much. Such a
Okay.
font of information, loads and loads of insights. So I'm sure there's lots of people who would like to meet you and chat to you. So where can people find you?
Yeah, LinkedIn is on all the time.
Yeah.
So my name is Saeed Bor. That's spelled Saeed for Delta, and then Bor is Bor. So you can find me on there. My company is called Embedded Ops, all one word.
That is brilliant. Thank you so much, Si, and take care.
Nice one. See you later.